welcome to this beautiful, stunning location at Halkin Castle Wood. I'm really, really grateful, first of all, for you coming out and giving us your weekend. And some of you have travelled really, really far and got stuck in lots of traffic on the way yesterday. So I just wanted to start by saying how super grateful I am that you've given up this time and your energy and your presence to come and be part of this conversation, this really important conversation around thinking about how we can reimagine education and considering how we actually learn and grow and thrive. And it's going to be really beautiful because we'll have a nice combination of people here today with different experiences, different backgrounds. We've got some parents coming along, some of our amazing young people who've co-produced this event. They're going to be arriving. Well, who knows? They'll be arriving at some point, I hope. We have some changemakers in the space that you're going to hear from today. And just really nice, wonderful, beautiful collections of humans who obviously are interested in thinking about change and how we could do that together collectively. So I'm really super, super grateful. My name is Jane Bellis. I think everybody knows who I am at this point anyway. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my part of the jigsaw piece before I hand you over to Vanessa. And if I've forgotten any housekeeping, Vanessa, that's probably, you can like back up anything I've missed. So my piece of work that I bring to the table, and you're going to see reference to it dotted around, because for me, this is my kind of official launch, I guess, even though it's been out there for a good year or so, and we've been testing and we've been refining. My Mojo School, and you're going to see QR codes and posters and all kinds of bits of information, lots of people for you to speak to who have been involved. It really was the culmination of 10 years of work out in the field, out on the front line with my social enterprise. And Lindy's not here for me to introduce you, but my partner in crime for our local social enterprise, it's called Art and Soul Tribe. And it's the vehicle that puts on these events. We do lots of events and lots of creative storytelling is what we do in that space. And for the last 10 years, we've been commissioned by local authority, lots of different charities, different organisations to do our sort of special superpower blend of work that we do, which seems to have really good outcomes. Maybe it's because we kind of present the way we do and we're quite relatable and we use lots of safe and engaging creative ways that you'll see today to tackle some really difficult subjects and to articulate some difficult things that are often hard to say, and we do it really well. So over the years, we've worked not just with young people, although everybody kind of knows me for my work with young people because I'm so passionate about it. The reason I am passionate about working with young people is because every other group I work with seem to have a common theme of challenges. And I've done projects with military veterans and their families, with older people who are isolated. Maybe they've lost a loved one, they're grieving, and they don't have a network. We've worked with cancer patients and their families. We've worked with domestic violence survivors, with prison leavers, lots of projects with the homeless community. So really, really difficult, challenging spaces that we've worked in for 10 years. And in Flintshire, my home county, we kind of became known as being good at reaching the unreachable and teaching the unteachable. So I spent a lot of time in isolation rooms, good old ISO, where all the naughty kids hang out because they're good for nothing and we just need to get them out of the classroom. So I'd be brought in to do pieces of work to, engage and support and babysit them really, so they just weren't impacting the data so negatively. And I started to gather my toolkit along the way, and I would, lots of different skills to bring to the table, lots of different tools in my toolkit. But there seemed to be common themes between all of those different groups over the years that I could kind of pick out. And it really was a matter of people not feeling like they are seen, heard, understood. And I thought that was quite a simple thing really, but it crossed the board for everybody. Even some of the really quite deep trauma spaces, when we wound it back and we weeded things out, it tended to be that simple thing. So I was trying to work out what my superpower was, and it was literally just listen. That was it. It was just the ability to listen and listen to hear and understand, rather than listen to respond and fix, which we're all in danger of. I've been in that space before where you're just waiting for a gap in the conversation so that you can give a solution and you can fix, and you've got an expectation of what you're going to do anyway. But just trying to refine that skill of being present, and even when you can't relate, working in a tent with somebody who has no home and has just come out of prison, I cannot relate. I haven't got that experience. but I have empathy and compassion, and I can bear witness to that and hear your story. So that's all we did, really. We just, that seemed to be, how do you get these outcomes and how do you get all this stuff? We actually care. We actually have the time to sit and actually listen. And sometimes people just need ears, not solutions. They just need to be heard. And quite often, the people who are experiencing the challenges have the solutions that they need. It's the coaching that needs to be done for people to feel safe enough, emotionally and psychologically safe enough. It's not just a physical thing, to be able to work out what it is that's going on for them, what it is that's happened to them, and what they need to resource themselves with to move into this future. So we did that for a number of years, and we did it really well. And we used to do events and performances, and we'd share stories on big stages, and we'd work with groups who would finally, after a lot of rapport building and listening, would maybe say, oh, I've always fancied songwriting or play music or something. So we'd go and we'd bring in songwriters and musicians to help support that group in their way. We'd meet them where they're at, and they would start the process of their storytelling. And from that, we'd get some disclosures, and we'd get some stories that we could then help and facilitate, new things and progress. And we did that every step of the way. Sometimes it would be planting a garden. We'd realize, okay, you like to walk and talk. You are not going to make eye contact with me and sit in a therapeutic setting. But if we go and walk and we're side by side, we can you have a great conversation. If we plant some spuds in the garden or we do a bit of weeding, that's a really good space to have these chats. And that's what we did. We just built in projects based on the need of the group or the person. And it developed and developed and developed, and we were bringing out impact reports and working in the third sector. Those of you who are in the third sector will know full well, you're working with magic beans and you're changing them into huge beanstalks. So we're seriously under-resourced, but really good at what we do and really good at getting big impact. But it became unsustainable. So we got to the point where we were so busy because the level of unmet need was just growing and growing and growing. We were doing work with CAMs to try and support CAMs and who weren't built for the kind of need that they were experiencing. So we're getting all the overspill, and we're doing more and more projects. And Lindy and I sat down a couple of years ago, and I was burning out myself. Could have done with your work then, Franca, for sure. I thought it's not sustainable, it's not growable. We can't actually make a real impact because we're just plugging little holes. And we're enabling the system that doesn't quite work. We're kind of keeping it going, trying to be good people and trying to help. So is there any way we can leverage what we've done and we can actually impact some real change? We've got the stories, we know what's happening. People have told us, we've got a good way to present them. We've got a good model and a good format, but we need to duplicate me. So everyone kept saying, no, just clone yourself. And I thought, well, is it actually me in particular? And I don't think it's me. I think it's my set of skills and my knowledge and my tools. So I thought, well, if I can bottle that secret sauce somehow, and if I can find a way to present that in a way that's easy to understand and easy to digest, then I can help the people who help people. And I can help the teachers, the coaches, the therapists, the parents, the third sector leaders, everybody who's burning out. If I've got this brilliant toolkit that we know works, surely that's the way. And I can protect my burnout at the same time. So, long-winded story that was meant to be in 15 minutes, cutting a little bit shorter. I spent the best part of a year with thanks to some amazing people who are here today, who have helped and supported the process of creating and building this platform and testing it out, so that I have this really good resource. And it's finished, it's completed. For the first time ever, I don't feel like I have to actually add anything else to it. It just needs eyes on it, which is what I'm going to ask for you guys to do for me, is to help and support me to get visible and get eyes on it. So what we ended up with was all of these tools and knowledge and experience in a digital platform called Mojo School. And it does what it says in the tin. It's a learning space and a toolkit that supports people to find their mojo, to work out who they were before the world got its hands on them. There's lots and lots and lots of different ways to engage with it, which you'll be able to come and grab me and talk to me about throughout the day. It's an app, which everybody loves. So we've tried to create something that meets people where they're at, and we know people just want to doom scroll 24 hours a day. So I thought if I can lean into that and create something that replaces that feeling of scrolling, but with something good and positive, then surely that's going to have a benefit. So it's an app for individuals, easy peasy, subscription model, works out 47p a day. So it's like Netflix for self-help, we've coined it as. Netflix for self-help. And there's a whole curriculum in there. There's a whole structure in there. And it's based on ancient wisdom. So we've got not bang up to date modern technology, which everybody loves. And when Anthony speaks later, you'll have a deeper understanding of the ancient wisdom side, because we've taken influence from indigenous tribes all over the world have a concept called the medicine wheel. We have a Celtic version. I'm a Welsh girl, so the medicine wheel has been used since time began as a blueprint for how humans can be well. Native Americans have quite a famous version, but all over the world, there's a concept of the medicine wheel. And in the West, we seem to have lost it completely. So I wanted to bring that back and make it a 2025 modern, up-to-date version. So my whole curriculum is based around this concept. And I have a little tiny version as a prop that I'm going to show you. And the theory is that the circle or the wheel is the whole. It's the whole person or the whole company or the whole school. It's the holistic approach. And this particular wheel in the medicine wheel concept is split into 4 quarters. And the 4 quarters need to be met in balance for somebody to be well. And we miss the mark so much. And as you kind of explore this concept, you'll hopefully be able to see how we've got it so wrong. So if all 4 quarters are not met in balance, we become sick, or we experience dis-ease or disease in some way. I thought it was really interesting because we do focus on certain parts, but we really miss others. So I wanted to create something that captured the whole thing. And I built in 4 pillars to Mojo School, corresponding with the 4 quarters. And the first pillar is called Awaken, and it's the top-down approach. So it's all the cognitive stuff. It's all of the thoughts that prevent most people from engaging in anything, because their thoughts are so confused and their mind's so fuzzy that they can't learn anything. So we start at that point. Lots of CBT style stuff, lots of thought reframing exercises. There's lots of work around anxiety. What's going on? What happens with your triggers? How do your mind and your body connect? What are these chemical reactions? How can you deal with those things? So lots of support and information around mental health in that first pillar. And when you've built your toolkit and you've got a bit of knowledge on what on earth's going on, territory mapping sits in that first quarter. What are your swamps? Identifying and triaging and mapping out what's going on. You move to the second pillar, which is balance, and that's around your physical health. And in that space, we look at the bottom-up approach. So it's things like body-based therapies, somatics. So if you're having a panic attack, you can't think your way out of it. You have to find a way to work with your body. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to breathe differently. We look at things like grounding and pendulating and orienting, things that should be taught in school but aren't. Really good tools and coping strategies for when you need to manage your emotions and your thoughts and your behaviors. We look at things like nutrition. We deal with things like sleep hygiene. We look at the 5 Ways to Wellbeing framework and the sustainability goals and how you connect in with the environment, Vanessa's part, and how you connect in with your community and your tribe and your campfire. It's all in that direction where we learn how to balance. So by now you've got like half of the wheel. You've got 2 really good sets of tools there, the mental health and the physical health, but it's still just half the picture. So at that point, we move around into what we call the evolve quarter, and that's emotional health, emotional literacy. Once you've built your framework in the other bits and you've got an idea of what's going on for you and how you react, it's time to look at ways to move that through. And that's some of the things that you'll be able to see today. Really soft, creative interventions, how to write your way to wellness, how to journal things, how to move your body, how to use music medicine, colour, all of the things that help to move that emotion or energy in motion, as I'm sure Sonka will talk about, how to move those stuck things through. So you're basically learning to swipe up some of the apps that are just running in the background and clogging up your data, and free up some space to be able to move in and evolve from who you were to who you're about to become. So you're nearly around the wheel at this point, but there's still 1 quarter to go. And that final pillar is called Thrive in Mojo School. And it really is where you move from just surviving, where most of us are now, to really thriving. And it's all around self-development. And it's all around building on what you've learned so far and all the tools you have to look at concepts like your core values, your identity, your passion, your purpose, your relevance, which Anthony will speak about, those things that are missing. So for me, my whole curriculum, there's lots and lots and lots in there. Lots of accredited courses that cover these topics. There's a whole coaching program and pathway that handholds you through it. or you can binge watch it like Netflix and just dip in and out and get the bits that you feel like you need. Got a couple of mentors that will be able to talk you through how they're finding it. So Angela and Lucy over there. Angela used to be a teacher and is now supporting educators and parents to use my framework. And Lucy, who I've given a lanyard, even though she hates lanyards, is our corporate specialist looking at workplace wellbeing and how we can use this framework in organisations and businesses. So there's lots and lots and lots in there that I could go into detail with, and I'd love to speak to you more about it if it's something of interest. Some of you are already on there and you have some experience to share, so it would be great for you to share that. I would love everybody, if you haven't got it, to download the app at some point today. It's called Mojo School. It's free. You can hit the little people icon and say hi in the digital campfire, and there's lots of free resources on there. So it'd be great for you to download that, and I can get my count up. And then we've got the subscription on there and all kinds of nice things for you to look at. If you have a business or a school that might be interested, that would be great, because I have a licensing opportunity as well. And for me, this is my part to bring to the table, this underpinning that I think will help everybody in all of these different spaces by having that toolkit and having those things just available 24/7.